All right, let's talk about one of the biggest decisions you'll make with Amazon DynamoDB, choosing the right throughput capacity mode. It's a choice that hits you in two really important places, your app's performance and your wallet. When you really get down to it, the whole thing boils down to this one question. Are you trying to lock in predictable costs, or do you need the power to scale to the moon at a moment's notice? It's a classic trade-off, so let's dig in and figure out how to make the right call for you. To really get this, let's use a super simple analogy. Think of on-demand mode like calling a ride-sharing service. You only pay when you need a ride, right? And if you suddenly need a whole fleet of cars, boom, they're there. Provisioned mode, on the other hand, that's more like leasing a car. You pay a flat fee every month, and you know exactly how much car you've got for your daily drive. Now, before we go any further, we got to talk about the currency of DynamoDB, how you actually pay for performance. Everything is measured in what we call read and write capacity units, or RCUs and WCUs for short. Think of them as tokens. Every single time your app reads or writes something, you spend a few tokens. The big difference is how you buy those tokens. So first up, let's talk about on-demand mode. This is the ultimate serverless kind of fire and forget option. It's just perfect for new apps, workloads that are super spiky, or really any time you just have no idea what your traffic is going to look like. With on-demand, you're getting a truly serverless experience. You literally pay for each request, and that's it. That means no capacity planning, no babysitting your usage, no setting up complex scaling rules. DynamoDB just handles it. It's why this is now the default and the go-to recommendation for most new stuff. It just fits that modern cloud mindset. You focus on your app, and you let the platform worry about scale. And here is where the real magic happens with on-demand. If your traffic peaked at, say, 50,000 reads per second yesterday, your table can instantly handle 100,000 reads per second today, no questions asked. And if you keep up that new higher peak, well, that just becomes the new baseline, letting you scale even higher. It's an incredibly powerful way to handle explosive growth without you lifting a finger. And this all comes back to being smart with your money, right? Going back to our analogy, you're not paying for a car to just sit in your driveway all night doing nothing. You only pay for the trips you actually take. For any app that has quiet times, and most do, this is a huge, huge win. You simply don't burn money on capacity you aren't using. Okay, so that's on demand. Now let's flip the coin and talk about provisioned mode. This is our leased car model. It's all about predictability and control. Designed for apps where you can pretty much forecast your traffic and where you really want to know what your bill will be at the end of the month. With provision mode, you are totally in the driver's seat. You tell DynamoDB, hey, I need exactly this many RCUs and this many WCUs every second. You get billed a nice, consistent hourly rate for that capacity, which means your monthly bill is super predictable. This is absolutely perfect for applications that have a steady, rhythmic pattern day in and day out. But, and this is the big but, here's the trade-off. With your leased car, you pay that same monthly fee whether you drive it across the country or just let it sit in the garage. It's the same with provisioned mode. You pay for the capacity you set aside, even if your application doesn't end up using all of it. So what do you do if your workload is predictable, but not, totally flat? What if it's got regular peaks and valleys, kind of like a social media app that's crazy busy during the day but dead quiet at night? Well, that is exactly what autoscaling is for. It gives you the best of both worlds for your provisioned capacity. The whole process is actually really elegant and completely automated. DynamoDB is constantly sending its usage data over to CloudWatch. If your traffic starts creeping above or dipping below your target, CloudWatch sounds an alarm. That alarm tells application autoscaling to jump in and tweak your table's capacity up or down to perfectly match what's happening in the real world. It's like having a chauffeur who automatically swaps your little compact car for a giant SUV the moment the whole family decides to tag along. So what's the magic number for that target? Well, the official recommendation is 70%. And why 70? Well, it's pretty clever. It gives you this 30% buffer, a cushion to absorb any sudden short burst of traffic without slowing down your users. But at the same time, it's aggressive enough to scale your capacity down when things get quiet so you're not wasting money. It really is the sweet spot between performance and cost. All right, so we've got our predictable workloads covered. But what about chaos? What happens when you're facing a massive, out-of-nowhere traffic spike? DynamoDB has some advanced tools for this, letting you either plan ahead for it or react to it when it happens. Let's break this down into two camps: planning ahead versus reacting on the fly. Warm Throughput is your planning tool. If you know you've got a huge product launch at 9 a.m. on Friday, you can pre-warm your table, cranking up the capacity beforehand so it's ready for that flood of users. Then you have the reactive tools, burst capacity and adaptive capacity, which are like automatic safety nets. Burst capacity saves up unused capacity from the last 5 minutes to handle quick spikes. And adaptive capacity, that's even smarter. It automatically redirects power to any hot parts of your table that are getting slammed, preventing one busy spot from slowing the whole thing down. Okay, we have thrown a lot at you, from the basic modes all the way to these advanced scaling features. So how do you put it all together and actually make a decision for your next project? Let's just boil it all down to a really simple choice. If your workload is unpredictable, spiky, or you just don't know what it's going to be, and you want something that's totally automated where you only pay for what you use, on-demand is your answer. Easy. But if your traffic is predictable, nice and steady, and you really value a fixed, forecastable cost, then provision mode, probably with auto-scaling turned on, is the way to go. It's really all about matching the right tool to the right job. And really, that's what it all comes down to. The best way to make this choice is to think about the personality of your application. Ask yourself, is it a study marathon, just chugging along at a consistent pace day after day? Or is it more like a series of crazy, unpredictable sprints with these intense bursts of activity and then long periods of rest? You answer that one question and you'll know exactly which DynamoDB capacity mode to choose.